is going on, you guys? I'm SuperRebel, and today we have a really special guest with us who's going to be sharing his first impressions about Just Cause 3, because he did actually get to play this game quite early due to the EGX event. But before I go any further into the video, if you are an absolutely amazing, awesome rebel, be sure to explode on that like button. Always really appreciate your guys' support. And with that said, let's just jump right into the video. So the special guest we have with us today is a YouTuber who goes by the name Lasers, aka James. Some of you guys might be familiar, but what's going on, James?
I'm happy to be here, is essentially what my thoughts. But yeah, hello everyone. Welcome to this video.
Alright, so about like 5 hours by the time this video goes up, like five hours ago, I made a video asking you guys to leave questions for Lasers in the comment section below. Basically just asking what you want to know about his experience, and we got over 100 questions. Now, of course, we don't want to sit here and probably go through all those 100 questions, so what I done is I picked out the most interesting ones, and we got 13 of them to go through, so hopefully James is going to be able to answer all of them. But how was the game, first of all? How did you find it, James?
Well, I mean, like when you first get into the game, like because obviously I was comparing it a lot to Just Cause 2, so I got to play in the open world for about 20 minutes, and you get dropped into this area right next to a car. And this guy pops up at the right, and he's like telling you, just go ahead, destroy what you want. I guess it was for demo purposes, obviously. That probably won't be how the game, like anything that happens in the game, but so I was dropped in next to this car, and the first thing I did was get in the car, because I was so interested to know what the driving physics were going to be like. So I was like, right, I'm just going to get in this car. The car was really slow to start off with, because it was like this really old rickety thing, and so I was like kind of just driving it, and I started like turning, so I wanted to see what turning was like, and the cars like feel really heavy and stuff, and like weighty. They feel like proper cars, like, as opposed to like Just Cause 2, which kind of felt quite arcadey.
Was that basically with all the cars, in terms of feeling weighty, or did like some actually feel relatively light, if you know what I mean?
I drove that car, which felt like I just described. Then I had the second car I like jumped off the car that I was on, and then I went and got in a sports car. That was like obviously a lot faster, and like it turned a lot better, but it still felt like a car. Like it didn't feel like it was kind of zipping about and like just like jolting really weird. Like it felt like it was a car, and that's the same with like the truck that I drove as well. They all had different feelings to them, but they all felt more realistic than Just Cause 2. Was
the sports car the one that we saw in the trailer, the silver chromey one?
Yeah, it wasn't that one. It was a different one. Right. It was I can't begin to describe it, but yeah, it was a different kind of sports car. Yeah.
All right, okay. So everything like basically felt a lot better than it did in Just Cause 2, because I remember like Just Cause 2, like if you got into like a really fast car, I don't know if you remember that one near the airport, that grey one that was like, it was basically like for, I guess, like showing purposes, if you know what I mean, like a display vehicle. I don't know if you remember or know what I'm talking about.
I think I vaguely remember, yeah.
Alright, well, anyway, I'll show a screenshot on screen right now for all you other guys, just so you hopefully remember it. But that car, like, at first, it was, like, super awesome. Like, and when you hit a top speed, though, that's when everything just, like, screwed up. It was absolutely horrible. Like, because it was like quite a long road going to that airport. It was like the international airport where you basically get those passenger planes. So that was like the ideal road for a car like this. And I remember like getting into that car and like going really fast up that road, and it's like you come to like this like roundabout thing, and I turned, and like from that moment on, I just don't know what went wrong. Like the car just it literally lost control, and I was like, wow. And it was like kind of in terms of when you brake as well, it wasn't good. So, I mean, in a way, I guess what you just said is great to hear, because I definitely did not want to see that again in Just Cause 3, because I felt like it just ruined quite a lot of things, actually. And, like, the sports cars weren't really as good as they could have been, if that makes sense.
Yeah. See, the way that I saw the cars, like, in Just Cause 2, I never really used like land vehicles too much, like unless I like had like, you know, tanks and stuff like that. But the cars and stuff, I never really touched them in Just Cause 2, like after a while, because I was like, well, they're not that great, like they don't feel like worth playing with. But in Just Cause 3, like it was just like, because the world's so much more like sort of filled with stuff as well.
Yeah.
So as you're like driving around, like everything just feels more like it's worth driving, and all the cars feel different, and they feel like more responsive and everything, and it's just, yeah, the driving's just way better in Just Cause 3.
In terms of driving, did you actually see like more than one passenger in a car? Because I don't think we've seen that yet. And like I know in Just Cause 2, it was like only one person per car.
I have no idea. I don't even think about it. Look, but there was one time when I got into a car and I didn't realize it was one of my teammates, and like one of your don't know what they're called. I think they're called rebels actually. But yeah. I got into one of their cars, like, because I didn't realise, and I was like, why am I not able to drive? And then I, like, kind of turned the camera around, and I realised I was just sitting in the passenger seat. So yeah, that was a thing.
But I mean, that's a great thing in terms of, like, the Rebels as well, because, again, it's just something that it makes the gameplay, like, a lot more interesting, in my opinion. Like, having that ability to have someone drive you as well to a waypoint. I don't know if you tried that out, actually, or if that was, like, actually something available in the demo, where you set a waypoint and like the rebel can actually drive you to that specific place.
Alright, that's really cool. I didn't even know, like, because I haven't done huge amounts of research on Just Cause 3, so when I got into the game I was kind of like just trying out everything that I could do, kind of like working everything out. So yeah, I didn't realise that, but that sounds cool, so I didn't actually get to try that.
Alright, well, I'm just going to jump straight into the questions that you rebels asked lasers, so are you ready for this?
I'm prepared. I'm ready.
Alright, next question we got is from Creamy Beef, and he says, can you destroy every tree? I don't even know if you did try this, James, but
well,
did you like drive into a tree?
I didn't get into the game and think, you know what, I'm gonna try hitting some trees. That wasn't really something that I did, but no,
hashtag fuck nature.
I don't even remember any trees and stuff like that, but I do remember like lampposts and like random bits of like brick and stuff. Did
you even see trees?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
I did see trees.
Alright, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Alright, so I mean, so far what we have seen though is you can destroy trees, so I guess if you can destroy one tree, you more or less can destroy every tree that gets in your way. Alright, next question we got is, how does it feel to run around shooting?
That was, like, if you've played Just Cause 2, like, you'll understand kind of how it works. It's very similar. The only thing is, right, which I think, was it the same in Just Cause 2? When you used to aim down sights in Just Cause 2, was that the stick that you clicked in to aim down the sights? Or was it a trigger? Yeah. It's the same thing as that, which I never liked that in the other Just Cause games, but it's basically the same thing. And it felt.
Did you have an option to change that?
I didn't look, because I was kind of like, I have 20 minutes. I was like, I don't really want to go through all the menus and have a look at all that stuff. But it was just about, it was the same as Just Cause 2, but it felt more accurate. Like, kind of when you like aim in and you're kind of aiming at people and shooting, like it felt sort of more like you were accurate and like realistic. It's difficult to explain how it felt. It just felt better.
In terms of like his movement when you were shooting, did he feel like he had like a weight to him, if that makes sense? Because, and like in terms of running as well, I mean, you probably know it, like the most annoying thing in Just Cause 2 was in general when you was running, like it felt like everything was shaking it, and it honestly felt like you just was not running at all. In Just Cause 3, do you feel like you are running?
One thing I didn't find, because as I was playing it, I tried a bunch of buttons. One thing I couldn't find was the sprint button, so I wasn't sure if the game had one or not, because I was kind of looking, like pressing everything I could on the controller. I was like, I have no idea if there's even a sprint button in the game, and I was kind of like, that can't be right. Maybe I've just done something wrong, but from all the buttons I tried, I couldn't actually find a sprint button.
Oh, right.
So
I mean, from like seeing other people's tweets as well about their experience at EGX, most people were saying, well, like I guess the complaint was about the controls not being really clear at the beginning.
Yeah, because it's not the same as Just Cause 2, so you have to kind of try them out and kind of work out what buttons do what, and because it's changed slightly, like it's a similar. If you've played the other game, you'll kind of grasp it, but it is kind of like you don't really know what you're doing to begin with, which that was a thing, but I kind of got to grips with it pretty quick. But yeah, I couldn't find a sprint button.
Alright, okay, moving on to the next question. It comes from Road to Gaming, and he says, do you like the voice of Rico? I don't know if he did talk during your demo.
Yeah, he did like a few times. Like he makes random comments, like through the world and everything. Like I mean, I don't really know what to say. It was like, you know, I like his voice.
Did it like?
It's good.
Was it like I mean, one thing was about voice acting in Just Cause 2. Like loads of people like there was bad voice acting. Would you consider this bad voice acting, or is it more like it's sort of bad, but it's funny at the same time, so it just sort of like fits in and you don't really notice it, if that makes sense?
Yeah, I know what you mean about Just Cause 2, because Just Cause 2 was kind of... I remember the voice acting kind of stood out a bit, and it was kind of like, that's a bit odd. But no, with this game, I didn't actually notice it. Like, I noticed that people were talking, like, you'd have, like, when you got, like, noticed, there'd be like, oh, there's reports of violence or whatever.
Oh, right. So it was, like, similar things in Just Cause 2?
Yeah, it was very similar, but it felt like it fit in. Like, everything felt like it, like, tied together really well. So, yeah.
Yeah. On the topic of talking, did you hear random like pedestrians having conversations, or like maybe when you was close to them, did they make any comments or anything like that?
Yeah, I think there was one time when I was driving. I think it was like, I can't remember exactly what the person said, but I'm sure they made like, it was quite funny actually, like, because I was driving really fast and like smashing a load of stuff, and they just made like a normal comment about it as if that was a completely normal thing to be happening. And I kind of that like kind of amused me a little bit.
So like, it felt like sarcastic but funny, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. Next question comes from the Greeks, and they say, or he says, are there random planes flying around like in GTA? Like, did you see any planes in the sky?
Oh yeah.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. There was like If you like, it's just randomly, like occasionally, like, because I was going around and I was like, I really want a plane, and then I like turned and there was one in the air and I was like, oh my god, there's one up there, and I was like, I'm never even gonna get there. Like, it just wasn't gonna happen.
Was that a passenger plane, or was it like a tiny little plane? Because
I don't know, it was black. I think. But yeah, great. I saw a couple of different planes flying around at times.
Alright, so they vary, so that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Because I think in GTA, you more or less see, like, the same plane. Or, like, I guess you could say the same style of a plane, if that makes sense.
Yeah. It's just like, there's a lot of... in GTA, it's kind of passenger planes fly around a lot, don't they?
Yeah. On the topic of GTA, somebody did ask, do you think this game can compete with GTA overall?
Well, I mean, it's really difficult to compare it to GTA because it feels a lot different. And I mean, I guess it just depends. It depends which one you prefer. So it's not about quality of the game. So the games have a very similar quality. They're both really, really good. But it just depends which one you prefer, to be honest.
Yeah, I remember saying not too long ago, like, I think both games are great in their own way.
Yeah.
Because, like, of course, GTA is, like, more focused on, like, I don't know, I guess you could say gangsters, and, like, that sort of lifestyle and all that, and like you get a rich lifestyle and all that. Whereas in Just Cause 3, you're basically the hero. So I guess if you was to switch them around, like the same story, but you just change games, if that makes sense. So like gangsters are in Just Cause 3 and you're the hero in GTA. Like, it just doesn't fit well, if you know what I mean. So that's basically really what I mean. Like, both games are good in their own way, like what they were made for. But I think all in all, it definitely would be up there if there was like a top 3 and like games to compete with GTA, or like in terms of like similarity. I guess it could. I mean, it definitely is there actually, because it's an open world, and it like you more or less can do whatever you want. So
I'd say it was good. It was good.
Alright, next question. We did actually speak about this a couple of minutes ago. How did the controls feel overall?
So, I'm trying to remember what, like, it was similar, like, the shooting controls were all really similar as to Just Cause 2, of, like, the triggers and, like, how you switch between weapons, like, with the D-pad and everything, and, like,
So it was pretty straightforward, and, like, quick as well, really responsive.
The grapple was, like, it was, like, the same left bumper to shoot your grapple, and then, like, to attach something else. Left trigger pulls things closer together. There was like when you're grappling, like to do your wingsuit is Y, to do your parachute's A, and then to like release your... The one thing I thought was a bit weird, because to release your grapple, like if you've got like something tethered and you want to release it, like you press B, but when you press B it's also melee, so rather than it just cancelling the grapple, he also kind of like hits out at the same time, which is a bit... I thought it was a bit weird, but...
So how did you go about slowing like the speed of basically pulling something forward?
I have no idea.
You didn't do that?
No, I had no idea, because obviously they didn't give us the controls, so you kind of had to work them out for yourself. So I didn't know. Some things like that and other stuff I didn't really know what I was doing with. So I kind of had to work out myself.
In terms of melee as well, like the combat, did you do any of that? Like, was there any sort of like fists?
One thing that I thought was cool, like, it's kind of like, because in Just Cause 2, he kind of swung like his grapple to hit someone with like a melee attack, but with this, it was kind of like he'd kind of like do different like moves on them. So like if one time I was on a boat and there was one of the guys that was on like the gun on the front of the boat, and he came off to like try and fight me, and I pressed B to like melee him, and he kind of like grabbed him, punched him, and then threw him off the side of the boat. I thought that was pretty cool.
Well, that actually like sort of brings back a memory to Just Cause 2. Like when you hijack something, like do you remember you have to go in like that pattern? So basically, was it like that?
No, it was. Well, I didn't know actually. It was when you hijack things. Like I did it to a couple of boats, and he kind of, when I hijacked something, he did just kind of grab them and like throw them, kind of thing. There wasn't like a button combination or anything like that.
Yeah, I get what you mean, because I actually saw some gameplay yesterday, and basically he gets this dude out of the tank. I don't know if you've seen this gameplay. If not, I'll show you at the end of this video. But it's like it honestly looked like he just picked the dude up with one hand and just chugged him out,
wow.
Which was that was just crazy. But I mean, so basically, in terms of hijacking, like the way you get them out all varies. It's not just the same thing, is what you mean?
Yeah.
Alright. Next question, it does say, do you feel like you are in an action movie when you are blowing the shit out of everything?
This is something that I definitely thought while I was playing it, because it was like one of those areas that have loads of explosives, and I kind of like pulled down this tower, like one of those, like, I don't even know what they are. It's like a tower, but it's like red and white stripe kind of thing. And I like pulled that down on top of like one of these explosive big ball things. I don't even know what they are, but I pulled it down, like it blew up, and I kind of like grappled onto like some falling debris and like flew with the wingsuit through it, and I was like, this is amazing. It just felt great.
That must have felt like, this is fucking awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty damn good.
Alright, next question we got does come from Harmon, and he does say, well, considering you haven't used the tether, we won't actually go through this question, but the question was anyway, can you rip off the vehicle parts with the tether? But in terms of vehicle parts, and like I said, considering you didn't use the tether as much, basically to go through all this stuff, when you was driving and considering you were crashing all over the place, how was the damage on the vehicles, like in terms of body parts falling off, maybe like wheels falling off? Did any of that happen?
I didn't get into too many huge crashes. Like, whenever you're driving vehicles, it's always like yours has like this like way more power to it. So like if you crash into an enemy vehicle or like a civilian, it kind of just explodes. Or like goes flying kind of off the like road and stuff, and like there was quite a lot of destruction. Like I saw like rims falling off and stuff like that, and like kind of like the car doors coming off and stuff like that. And also there's this one time right at the beginning, is when I was first driving this sports car. I was driving along, and there's this car coming towards me, and I crashed into it. I don't know what happened, but the person fell out the car, and the car like span up in the air, and I just like pushed the camera up, and it was like way in the air. It fell back down and exploded, and I was like, that probably wasn't meant to happen. But it was so cool.
Yeah.
it was
no,
great.
I mean, like, the way you just said that person, like, coming out of a car, like, I mean, I'm picturing it now, like, the situation you was in, but what would be cool, right, is if you, like, collide straight into someone's car and, like, literally face to face, you can go straight through your dashboard or windscreen, whatever you call it, and so can they. I think that'd be crazy. Like, that'd be really cool. Yeah. And then, as well, you can just, like, grapple them if they're not dead already, and then kill them. Alright, moving on to the next question. Hippie Gamer says, if you could add anything else into the game, what would it be?
Jesus Christ. Anything else into the game?
Else.
That's really difficult. It already has so much. I'm trying to think of anything that I would add.
This is like someone asking, there should be cheats in the game. Well, like, if you think about it, all the cheats you would want to have for this game is just already in the game, if you know what I mean. Like, so yeah, that is a tough question. But if you want me to answer this, what I would say is co-op. That's just like straight out there. Co-op has to be like, that's a must-have.
That's what I'd say. Yeah.
All right, next question says, out of like basically your entire time playing this game, what was the most funnest thing you've done?
It was probably what I did was I like, because I went through the option menu, because I was trying to find like how you do like the you know, you can drop in vehicles and stuff, and I was like, how the hell do I do this? So I like paused the game, and I was like, oh, there it is, it's like Rebel drops. So I went onto it and picked like this fighter jet thing, and
so these are just awesome. Was like more or less everything on that list just already unlocked, or was it basically like only a few things? Considering it's a demo as well, obviously they don't want to like include every single vehicle you can get.
Yeah, it was like you go, like, I went into the Rebel Drops bit and it had like different sections of what like thing you wanted. So I went into the Jets bit and I think it was like there was about 6 different types, and it was like the first 2 were unlocked for me to use. So I chose like the one that I thought looked the best. It was like
well,
blue.
while we're on that topic, the last question we did have was how was the handling on vehicles, but considering we more or less did go for that, how was the handling on the aircrafts, like the jets that you flew?
Okay, yeah, they were good. Like they felt like they were easy to use.
Was it
like,
really arcadey?
No, it wasn't. It felt like they were easy to like use and stuff, but they felt like you were like when I turned, it felt like I was turning like an aircraft. Yeah, it felt good.
Would you consider it weighty? I don't know if that makes sense, but like you get what I mean. Like it wasn't stiff, but it wasn't super light.
Yeah, it felt like you were like controlling this big aircraft when you tried to turn it and like fly it around.
Alright, that's actually, I'm glad to hear that, because when we saw the first gameplay of that blue little plane, I noticed like even when it took off, it was like super arcadey, and I was like, oh god, like no, I don't want this in the game. But I mean, you just basically cleared that up. So thanks a lot, James. Those are all the questions that you Rebels asked, so hopefully you got an answer. And of course, James, hopefully you enjoyed playing the game. Thanks a lot for coming on this show. I really do appreciate that. Hopefully you enjoyed doing this video as well. Be sure to check out James's channel. Lasers, I'll link it in the description below. Anything else you want to say, James?
No, just thanks for having me on this video. It was great. It was great. I loved answering your guys' questions, so yeah. Alright,
so I will catch you guys in the next video. As always, be sure to subscribe if you guys haven't already for more Just Cause free content. And yeah, till next video, adios amigos.